that. Meanwhile, let's now bring into the conversation someone who knows Justin Herbert as well as anyone, and that is his college head coach, who's good enough to get up early with us here this morning from Oregon. It's Mario Cristobal. Coach, thank you very much for doing that. And, I noticed as I was going over things that Justin's first ever Instagram post includes a picture of the two of you hugging. What can you tell us about that relationship that you have with the quarterback?
Well, when you look at Justin, not only as a quarterback, as a player, as a person, the best way to describe him, he's exactly what you want your son to be. And by that, I mean he's an incredible human being, a relentless competitor. Everything he does to the best of his ability. And there's not a selfish bone in his body. He wants to do things for the good of others. He wants to see his teammates win, those around him get better. This guy is a really impactful human being and football player. And again, I said it time and time again, he's the best I've ever been around.
So he isn't going to be the first quarterback in this draft. At least that's not what we expect. He will either be second or third, according to all of the projections. In your mind, any team that passes on him, what will they be missing out on?
Well, as a football coach, what do you want out of your quarterback, right? You want a field general. You want an off-the-field leader. You want a guy that's always demanding the most of himself and his teammates. And if you're in a certain stage in your franchise's, I guess, situation, you want a guy to lead your franchise to championships. And here's a guy that came in as a freshman, thrown right to the Wolves, and took over a 4-8 football team. And 3 years later, he's sitting on a conference championship and sits there as a Rose Bowl champion with the Campbell Trophy in hand. And his one deficit, I think he had a B one time in his entire academic career. Aside from that, the guy has done everything and more that you could ever ask for a quarterback.
Let's talk about the personality, because I have heard people describe him as introverted, and I saw that you said it was, quote, laughable to describe him as such. How would you describe his personality?
Well, yeah, I do think that a comment like that is laughable because, I didn't see any of these people at any of our practices. Certainly didn't see him on the sideline of any of our football games. Justin's an outgoing guy and is a tremendous leader, and he is vocal how he needs to be, when he needs to do it, and he's very impactful and effective. This guy, it's like those old D.F. Hutton commercials, man. When Justin talks, people listen. That's what he is, man. When he opens up his mouth and he says something, it's got some pow, some wow factor to it. So I could not say that I've ever been around a better guy. And he's just scratching the surface. He's just starting to get going.
One more quick thought on him, because if there are questions that I've heard raised by our analysts, it is that with all of the extraordinary physical traits that we just broke down, sometimes the tape and the decision-making doesn't always match. Is that reasonable criticism in your mind?
I really don't think so. I think, if anything, we could have done a better job as a coaching staff at certain times in setting him up for success. I think he did exactly what he was told to do. I think his supporting cast certainly did the best they could do as well, and he had a really good season. We play some good football teams, and sometimes other teams are going to make plays, but overall, if you look at his career, the things that he did, throws he made, times he tucked the ball away and ran, critical situations, having to come with big plays in loud stadiums, in hostile environments, this guy came through in a big-time way.
It's a shame you won't be able to be with him on Thursday night, as this is obviously such a unique circumstance, but it will be a huge night for him, for you, and for the program. Speaking of that, I would like to ask you a little bit about it. How is your program and you personally handling all of the uncertainty that right now surrounds the start of the 2020 season?
Yeah, we're living in a Zoom world right now, and it's kind of interesting the way that we're getting with each other online and having our meetings, checking on guys academically, making sure they're taking care of their business, and sending huge boxes of protein and bands and workout tools, whatever we can, to help our guys manage their lives and their academic and athletic and fitness situations during this time is what we do. And we try to keep it very fresh for them as well. We try to have guest speakers in there all the time. Yesterday, Eric Armstead popped in there and addressed the team. LaMichael James popped into the running back meeting room and address them for a little bit. So, what, we understand this is a difficult time for everybody and challenging, but at the same time, we're not going to make any excuses. We're going to do all we can to do the best we can, because once this lifts, we're going to be ready to roll.
Yeah, we all want to see football as soon as is possible, but there are certain things that are beyond our control. So I wonder about two of them in particular. What would be your view on the possibility of conducting part or even an entire college football season without fans in the stands?
And until I get my qualifications and as a scientist and, someone that can understand exactly what's going on, I don't want to venture into that world of the what ifs. We have drawn up a bunch of different scenarios regarding if this happens, if it's pushed back, if there's a delay. And everyone has all laid out. I think the NCAA has done a good job communicating with the athletic directors, the administrations, and the coaches to have a contingency plan for just about everything. But, instead of trying to speculate, I don't even try. I don't want to get myself in a pinch and then I realize that, hey, I really don't know what the heck I'm talking about when it comes to stuff like that. But we do have a plan, and the players are enthused, and everyone is doing a really good job just respecting this virus. Because if we do respect it, brighter days are coming faster than what we think.
Now, of course, we all hope so. One of the other things that has come up, and I would like to ask you, though, is the notion that if the season will get pushed back significantly, it is so important to play for so many different reasons that maybe a season could even be played as late as in the spring. What would be your thoughts on the possibility of playing a college football season as late as that?
I haven't thought about it as it getting pushed back to that extent. I'm all for playing whenever you play. And you got to realize I'm from an era where, you had a job all summer. You probably sold encyclopedias and worked construction. And then on conditioning day, you show up at 2 o'clock, put on your shorts and your cleats, go out there and run your 16 110s and get ready to go to camp. So we're always in ready mode. That's the mentality that I've always had. And certainly, our players are subjected to different kind of conditioning tests, but there has to be a grace period to get guys physically fit and ready to roll, because at the end of the day, the safety part is always has to be at the forefront. We understand that. Medical team understands that. Everybody's on board to make sure we take care of our players first.
Now, Coach, I've really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for doing this again. Congratulations. I know it'll be a great night for you and the program on Thursday, wherever it winds up for Justin, and I hope we can do this again. Stay safe.